Yandy Smith didn't anticipate this. She believed the many cases were unshakable after supporting them through all the hardships they faced, including jail time, family conflicts, and every controversy. Now, though, everything is different, and why? A video that was leaked, one that nobody anticipated, has the internet ablaze. Social networking is booming. Fans are shocked, devastated, and caught off guard because Mendeecees is caught with Rasheeda in this startling video. Not simply slipping. Yes, Rasheeda Kirkfrost's wife. This Rasheeda has been Yandy's close buddy for years. It's the same Rasheeda who has battled in the public. Mendeecees and Rasheeda are shown in an intimate moment in the purely late-night video, and Yandy lost it the moment she saw it. She reportedly didn't even hesitate. She hurried out, packed her luggage, and went directly to her lawyer's office. However, how was this video leaked? Could it have been an accident or an attempt to expose them further? Furthermore, why was Mendeecees with Rasheeda? Is there more to the story? Or is this the final betrayal? This drama is about to blow up, and you won't believe what happens next. So stay tuned as Mendeecees' words seem to pierce her gut even more. Yandy stood there frozen in place. Her gaze focused on him. She was unable to comprehend what was going on or how it was all coming together so fast. The father of her children, the guy she loved, and the man who had vowed to always be there had just been captured on camera. And now it could destroy everything. Even worse, it involved Rasheeda, a member of their circle and someone she had trusted. How did this occur? As the scenario became more serious, the room seemed to get colder and more oppressive. Yandy struggled to maintain her composure as her hands trembled and her heart raced. She was not going to cry in front of them, but she was consumed by the treaty. How might she have been harmed by Mendeecees? Cease, begged his voice, trembling under the strain of the situation. Yandy, I swear it's not like that. His face showed a mixture of desperation and panic, as though he was aware of how grave his error was, yet was at a loss for words. Then Mendeecees. What is it? Yandy sounded uncannily composed, as though she were suppressing a raging storm. What is this? A misunderstanding? A setup? Mendeecees opened his mouth to say something, but the words refused to escape. Rather, he looked at Rasheeda, who stood in the corner with her arms folded tightly across her chest. She appeared more guilty than she had ever appeared. Her expression had changed from one of calmness to one of uncertainty. The quiet was broken by Rasheeda's powerful yet gentle voice. Yandy, just take a moment to listen. She moved forward, but Yandy retreated instantly, seemingly separating herself from them. Both Rasheeda was out of her line of sight. It was too much treaty. Rasheeda, no? Yandy's voice became louder as she said, I'm tired of listening to lies. There is more to this than a simple miscommunication. This video depicts you and my spouse in a way that defies explanation. Now, what am I meant to believe? That everything was an error? That you two were magically captured in the act, and that it was manipulated to make it appear worse? Rasheeda started to say something else, but Yandy interrupted her. No, I've had enough. That video contains the truth, regardless of the excuses you two choose to make. You can't refute it. With the regretful expression on his face, Mendeecees calmed through this hair. He was torn apart by Yandy's hurt and rage, which he could see in her eyes. Yandy, I never wanted you to learn this way. I wanted to tell you, but... He trailed off and stopped talking. He was unable to complete the sentence. How was he going to explain this? What was he going to say about it? Yandy's thoughts were racing. The world around her seemed to be spinning. She was no longer able to hear what Mendeecees was saying. She couldn't stop thinking about the video and how he appeared in it. The appearance of them. It stabbed her heart like a dagger. Rasheeda, how might Rasheeda be involved? She was trusted by her. They had discussed their families' careers and vulnerable moments together. All of that felt like a lie now. Was Rasheeda complicit all along? Was there something she was concealing? What about Kirk? Was he aware? Did he know about the covered relationship? There were too many questions, and she felt increasingly deceived by each one. Before Mendeecees spoke once more, there was a long, uncomfortable quiet. His voice carried a feeling of urgency this time. This isn't what you think, Yandy. I assure you, you must trust me. I and Rasheeda. No, Yandy cut in, her tone piercing. No more falsehoods, no more justifications. Her chest constricted as she shook her head. I'm shocked that you did this, Mendeecees. It's unbelievable that you would betray me in this way. Each of her remarks struck more deeply than the one before it, like daggers. Mendeecees moved forward with a beseeching expression. Please don't do this, Yandy. Let me tell me. Describe how Yandy's voice raised a mix of incredible and rage. How did you get up in a precarious situation with Rasheeda? Tell me how you have been deceiving me all along. I told the truth, Mendeecees yelled, his annoyance mounting. That wasn't the case. Not everything is seen in the video. The whole picture isn't visible to you. Yandy gave a disbelieving shake of her head. What is the entire image, Mendeecees? What else can we see? Tears burned in her eyes, but she resisted letting them fall. He wouldn't have the thrill of witnessing her weakness from her. Everything I need to see has already been shown to me. Rasha moved forward once more, her voice faltering. There's more to this than you realize, I promise you, Yandy. This was not intended to occur. It was an error. It was an error. Yandy sneered. Do you believe that this was an error? You're calling it a mistake after seeing a video of the two of you acting like you're more than just friends. Rasheeda flinched at what was said. It was a personal time. It was just that this is not what we intended to occur. Yandy's eyes were burning with rage. A moment of privacy? You're referring to it like that? This private moment just so happened to be leaked? Isn't that correct? Came online out of nowhere. She gave a head shake. I'm not sure who is worse at the moment, you for doing this, or me for having faith in you. Her comments were sad and weighty as they hung in the air. Mendeecees was about to reply when Yandy stopped him. When everything was falling apart, she had no intention of sitting there and listening to another one of his justifications. She pivoted and made her way to the entrance. However, Mendeecees yelled after her as soon as her hand touched the handle. Please, Yandy, don't depart in this manner. I can clarify. Please just. But Yandy was gone, and the sound of her slamming the door behind her reverberated throughout the house. She was unable to remain any longer. She couldn't pretend that everything was fine while they were in the same room. It was done. Though everything he said was just a string of words that had lost all meaning. Her voice crackled as she whispered, Niece, I don't know if I can do this anymore, and I'm not sure if I can continue to act as though nothing is wrong. You have no right to repeatedly shatter my heart and then expect me to forget. This goes beyond the video. It's about everything. The person on the other end of the line paused for a long time. He was at a loss for words. He realized he was losing her, and for once, he couldn't speak. For the first time, he realized the consequences of his conduct after Yandy's comments hit him like a kick to the gut. The affair wasn't the only thing that was harmed and betrayed. It was all of the previous things, his falsehoods, his trade secrets. There were instances when he prioritized himself over her and their family. Meanies, he finally muttered, I'm so sorry, in a voice that was almost audible above a whisper. I didn't intend for it to go this far. I never intended to cause you harm, Yandy. You were everything to me. I'll stop at nothing to make this right, I promise. Yandy wasn't sure she still believed him, though she was aware of his potential. Sweet when he wanted something, affectionate when it was appropriate, and always willing to flip the script when he didn't get his way. What was different this time? Yandy's voice shook, but she replied firmly, I need space. I need time to reflect. I must determine what is best for myself, for the children, and myself. I cannot continue to live in this never-ending mess between them. The words weighed heavily in the air. He didn't dispute. He made no attempt to persuade her otherwise. He simply remained quiet, allowing her words to fully register in his heart. He realized that this might be the last time. Yandy sat there with her thoughts racing as she hung up the phone. What could have gone wrong? She had supported Mendeecees through all of his hardships, including his errors, shortcomings, and problems. However, this was unique. This was more than a mistake. Everything they had created together was betrayed by this. Even though it was painful, she realized that she couldn't continue to act as though nothing was wrong. Perhaps it was time to relax. However, a knock on the door interrupted her. As she was thinking about it, Yandy's head jerked up in surprise. She had no expectations. A worried look covered Tasha's face as it emerged in the doorway. "Are you all right?" Tasha asked quietly as she looked over Yandy's face. Yandy remained silent for a while, feeling as though the entire world rested on her shoulders. She simply gazed at her sister. At last, she exhaled deeply. "Tasha, I'm not sure anymore. Actually, I don't know." Tasha approached her and took a seat next to her on the bed. "It's acceptable to feel this way. You're now going through a really difficult time. You deserve better than this, though. And I want you to realize that beyond the lies and the pain, Yandy, you are strong. You are superior than this." Yandy turned to face her sister, tears welling up in her eyes. "But Tasha, I adore him. I'm not sure if I can simply leave him. I'm not sure if I can give up." Tasha took her hand and gave it a light squeeze. "You don't have to stay here if you love him. Letting go is sometimes the most difficult thing to do, but it's also the healthiest thing for you. Peace is something you deserve. Happiness is something you deserve." Yandy felt the impact of Tasha's remarks sink in as the discussion came to a halt. She had always taken pleasure in her strength and ability to keep everything together. However, perhaps it was time to let go of something that wasn't meant to be. Perhaps it was time to take a moment to consider herself. Mendeecees was pacing the living room. In the meantime, his nerves aching. She was gone from him. It was palpable in his bones. He was losing the lady he loved, the one he had vowed to treasure. And despite his best efforts, it seemed like he was making everything worse. His irritation rose as he combed his hair. What had he done? It wasn't meant to go like this. Instead of destroying their future, they were meant to be constructing it together. He now had nothing after having promised her everything. The phone simply rang when he attempted to call her again. His gut roiled as he gazed at the screen. What if it was like this? What if everything ended at this particular moment? A voice message appeared. When the phone clicked, he hesitated to listen, staring at it for a while. However, he was at a loss. He hit the play button. Yandy said, "Hey, Mendeecees," in a soothing yet unmistakably painful voice. "I'm not sure what will transpire between us, but there's something I need you to comprehend, Mendeecees. I've given you everything I had, everything I have. I have to give myself something now. I'm not sure if I'm still able to do it with you. I require time. I require room. Please be mindful of that." The statements deeply wounded him. She was done, not just hurt. Suddenly, Mendeecees became aware that he had already lost her, his beloved girlfriend. The woman he had vowed to love. She had left. After several days, Yandy's choice lingered in the atmosphere, like the threatening cloud obscuring all she accomplished. It wasn't simple. She still had a deep yearning to calm Mendeecees and hear his voice once more. However, she was unable to. She was aware that she couldn't return to the man who had caused her such great pain. The harm was done, no matter how much she loved him. The film, the treachery, the falsehoods, everything was too much. Mendeecees, however, wasn't merely sitting around. He was in a grave situation, desperate to put things right, to show Yandy that he could be the man she deserved, to set things right. But he couldn't get rid of the feeling that he was losing her permanently. No matter what he did, he contacted everyone who could assist him in putting his broken relationship back together, including his family and friends. However, every day that went by without hearing from Yandy felt like a nail in the coffin. Every time he checked his phone in the hopes of receiving a call or a message, his heart fell, but nothing was there. He sat by himself in his flat with his head in his hands, whispering to himself, "I messed up. I made a huge mistake." Mendeecees felt the consequences of his actions, but he was unaware of the extent of the harm he had inflicted. It was more than simply the Rasheeda video. It involved more than one error or slip-up. It was the culmination of years of ignoring his wife, falsehoods, and broken promises. Yandy was now making a decision for herself, choosing her tranquility over the turmoil he had introduced into their lives. Yandy, meantime, was trying to gather up the pieces of her life. While navigating through the sorrow, without that nagging sense of betrayal following her around, she was unable to concentrate on her work or her kids. Despite the pain in her heart, she remained determined. Regaining her strength, dignity, and happiness was more important than simply moving on. She spent time with her friends and family, who showed her unwavering devotion. They reminded her of the lady she was before all the drama, and they provided her with the support she needed to get through each day. Yandy was aware that she could never be the woman who remained.